American Express ahead of earnings, yes. And I was having
swiping.
I know this
swiping.
is a fun conversation. We just talk about spending money and how to spend money. So I was having an interesting conversation with our producer before the show about why someone would be using an American Express credit card over, say, Chase or just I have PNC. So whatever you'd be using, why would you pick this credit card? So I did some research because it's not a cheap credit card. The American Express Platinum is a $550 annual fee. So why would you pay that? Why does American Express attract this loyalty customer? And so I was looking, and you get access to 1,200 airport lounges, you get $100 in Saks credit, you get $200 in airline credits, $200 in Uber fees, and you get $100 off global entry or TSA pre-check fees. So all of that is well over $500.
You just made a good case for that.
Yes. So I did some research because why would I spend $550 just to spend more money, right?
Right, exactly.
I mean, I thought that was
at least
pretty
you're getting,
and you get entry points
value.
and stuff. So I have that credit card, and you do get a bunch of entry points. They have things to kind of entice you to want to be a member. American Express is a little bit different, though, which I'm sure you're going to get into. It's a charge card, not a credit card. So you aren't able to carry as big of balances.
And this is no doubt a luxury card because, of course, that carries that hefty $550 annual fee. So, Megan, I'm really curious to see what your data has on American Express going into earnings.
Yeah, Jenny, you really nailed a lot of the points and why consumers like to talk about American Express. When we're looking at American Express, so this chart that you're looking at now, this green line is purchase intent. So these are mentions of people who either opened up an account, they got a card, maybe they're talking about using their American Express. And what we see is we actually see, just steady growth over time, and you can see it really correlate well with the stock. So, a lot of times when we go into these earnings plays, we're looking at all of these different metrics. We're looking at buzz, we're looking at happiness, we're looking at purchase intent. And for us, we're pretty neutral across the board in that, the way that our data is tracking for American Express is exactly what the market's expecting.
And without a doubt, I mean, this stock, it's strictly stock performance. Like you mentioned, Megan, this stock has done really well over the last 12 months. It's up around 32%, so it has outperformed the S&P 500, which was about up 29% in 2019. So the stock performance really speaks for itself because this is a name that has done pretty well over the last year.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's interesting, too, with American Express of how they generate their revenue. I think 80% of their revenue is non-interest related. So, they're able to continue to grow these fees. This suggests a really strong and loyal consumer base, and the fact that, you're willing to pay that $550 annual fee that you mentioned because of the perks that you get, because of the benefits that they offer.
Megan, so when you correlate a stock like American Express to, say, like consumer spending, right? They have, don't you think, like, they better be having a good year when the U.S. consumer is so massively, ready to go and spending their money, especially coming up the Christmas holidays. I think I would be extremely disappointed if they didn't have rock star performance this quarter, right?
Yeah, I mean, you're exactly right. We watched the holiday shopping season just absolutely rocket this year. We're seeing a really strong consumer when we look at our just generic purchase intent mentions. So just people talking about shopping and spending money, we're showing continued strength. We're not worried about the health of the consumer. So I think that American Express really benefits from that.
Megan, as you start looking at American Express, obviously they're very reliant on corporate spending, as they have a big presence there, and they also are fairly reliant on that traditional charge card, which I said that they do offer. They're trying to move towards more interest-related income to kind of diversify a little bit. Do you see mention of any of their particular brands in general on Twitter that seem to be more popular? Is it this Platinum card that is the most popular one?
It's interesting. Whenever we look at the purchase intent mentions specifically, most of them are related to travelers. So they're people who are using their American Express and they're accessing those airport lounges, or they're getting points for their flights, and they're using these perks. So I think that we definitely see, or we have more of an insight into that upper echelon, that business traveler who's going to use that American Express card and, expect to reap the benefits and hang out in the nice lounge at the airport. And so I think that's good, though, for American Express. That's a customer that you definitely want.
Yeah, Megan, you nailed it on the head, what I saw on social media this morning, because people do love these benefits. I mean, it feels like it's free, even if it's not free, because you do pay that $550 annual fee. So, I mean, it's just interesting to see what people really like. They love these airport lounges. They love their $200 in Uber Uber credits, and it's just funny because you do pay for it some way. It's not entirely free, but the feedback on the American Express Platinum card seemed overwhelmingly positive this morning. So our first tweet says, "I've held back at risk of sounding bougie, but I can't hide it anymore. American Express Platinum is an upper echelon of living. If you travel often and are diligent about booking within the AMEX network, the benefits are next level." This I saw, I'm not kidding, I saw similar themed tweets like 100 different times. So people really love these benefits. I think the consumer really loves feeling like they're getting something for free or they're getting some different deal. But I just thought that was so funny. And particularly the American Express Platinum card I saw. Just so many positive tweets about the different kinds of benefits.
Well, and building on that real quick if I can, Megan, one of the benefits too that we haven't even really talked about is you get kind of instant status amongst hotels. So if you stay at Marriott Bonvoy, you're instantly gold status, which I believe corresponds to like 25 hotel nights a year, same as Hilton in their same rewards program. So the people that are your card members in this particular realm of cards, if they are traveling a lot, they really do have an opportunity to take a lot of advantages and benefits away from this. That probably is leading to, are they generally is the happiness for this company generally pretty high related to industry peers?
Yeah, you guys just set this up perfectly because happiness is the key distinguisher for American Express, and I think that tweet just displays it exactly right. Because when we look at American Express, their happiness is around 67% positive. The next closest, credit card company that we track is Visa at around 60%, and then Discover at 59%. So they're definitely in a higher level of happiness. And actually, their happiness is improving. When we look year over year, it's actually up 2% and trending positively. So, that's promising that as we see purchase intent, as we see them sign on consumers, and actually they recently raised their annual fee, that consumers are still just as happy, if not getting even more happy, and they're continuing to distinguish themselves and separate themselves from potential competition.
Yes, I do have to say they have a very loyal fan base. I mean, I call it a fan base because these people were absolutely in love with their American Express credit cards, but I had to balance. I had to find a tweet that wasn't as happy. So our next tweet is from Dan Hunt, who says, "Hey, American Express, why do you keep taking away the benefits of the Platinum Amex? Do you not like your members? I don't get it." He hashtags American Express and poor customer service.
Ooh.
So I had to balance.
You found the one unhappy person.
I know, no kidding. I had to search a little bit. But I mean, with long-term American Express outlook, Megan, do you see that with consumers possibly spending less, like Kevin mentioned, the consumer has been really strong in 2019. Do you think that if we see spending go down, the consumer tank a little bit, we could see less happiness in a name like American Express?
I think potentially you could. I think that American Express may be a little bit more insulated just in the model of, they're retaining their revenue and fees, and also the client that's using the American Express, at least from our data, is probably a little bit more protected and, able to continue to use this card, pay this fee versus, just your regular Visa or something like that. So I think that long term, as long as American Express continues to execute as they have, we're not seeing any shifts in the force or anything really serious to cause us concern.
Jenny, let's quickly go over the benefits one more time, because I want to add this up. I think we have to put a pencil and paper on this. I think we're over $550 in terms of benefits.
Definitely.
You said $200 from Uber.
$200 from Uber, $200 in airline fee credits. And these
That's
are all
$400.
annually, yes. And then you get $100 in Saks credit.
$500.
That's like that's my favorite of all
You're
of them.
getting close.
And then $100 in a global entry fee or TSA pre-check.
TSA pre-check, I've got that, but I mean, that's always, so you're talking about $600 in benefits from paying $550.
Right.
All right.
In addition to, like you mentioned, the benefits of you get your front in line at hotels, you're also front in line if you're booking a reservation at a restaurant, which we didn't even talk about. That's really cool.
Well, and it's really, this particular Platinum card is really going to be geared towards someone who travels a lot. So most credit cards have some type of a multiple on point or dollars spent.
Sure. Now, do they have points like that towards things?
But it's 5x on travel-related purchases. So that's going to be buying directly from the airline or using their Amex concierge to help them, book things, but also a little bit on hotels as well. But otherwise, it's one-to-one for everything else. So they have other cards like their Gold card, which I think is more focused on restaurants and more entertainment. So it's making sure that you get the one that actually fits your lifestyle.
What's the fee on the Gold card then? Do we know?
I don't know.
I wanna say
It's probably
140.
something
Yeah,
less than
I want to say
550.
it's less than 200.
Okay.
But Megan, as we kind of tie this all together, I guess the question that's coming here is I'm looking at the chart in terms of the full company's consumer purchase intent mentions. It's very, very highly correlated to stock price, and it looks to basically be in line. Is that where you guys fall right now in terms of looking whether you're bearish, bullish, or neutral on this particular report?
Yeah, you're exactly right. Our purchase intent is right in line with how we've seen the stock move. So we really don't have an earnings edge. There's no serious divergence either way. So we think that right now the market probably has American Express priced about right. And, we're watching just more for long term for this continued growth. But from an earnings play, we don't really have a clear signal here.
And that gold card, Kevin, is $250.
There it is.
Checked with our producer.
There it is. And the people in our ear with the
Yes,
answers.
with the answers.
Thank
It's gonna
God
come
for
from me.
them. Yeah.
So there you go, about half the price, obviously different benefits associated with that. But thanks to Megan for joining us. And Megan, it sounds like neutral going into this. If there is some type of a sell-off or a rally, maybe that'll influence your call going forward based off the information. But thanks as always, great stuff on American Express, and thanks to Jenny as well.